I cooked for my father and his third wife while exhausted, sick, and running on almost no sleep. Then she cursed me out in my own house because I didn't call her mom on Mother's Day. My father's third wife has been in his life for about 10 years, but if I'm being honest, she has never really been part of mine. They live across the country, and most of my interactions with her happen accidentally. I'll call my dad, thinking we're having a private conversation, only to suddenly hear her voice in the background because he has me on speakerphone again without telling me. That's basically our relationship. Random comments from the shadows during phone calls. I met her once years ago when they got married, and then again recently when they came to stay at my house for Mother's Day weekend. She's never been cruel to me before, but she's also never been anything close to a mother figure. I was already a fully grown adult when she entered the picture. She didn't raise me, guide me, support me, or mother me in any way. And honestly, Mother's Day has always been a painful subject for me anyway. I cut contact with my actual mother years ago because of how toxic she was. That holiday isn't sweet or sentimental in this house. Usually I try to ignore it completely and just survive the day emotionally, but apparently that wasn't acceptable to my father's wife. The day everything exploded, I had already been awake since 5 a.m. dealing with 2 elderly sick dogs while struggling through my own health problems. By the evening, I was completely drained mentally and physically, but I still spent nearly 3 straight hours cooking a full dinner and dessert for them because it was their last night visiting. I was exhausted. My brain felt fried, but I still wanted everyone to have a nice final evening together. We finally sat down at the table around 9 p.m. and I casually said something about how beautiful the weather had been that day. That's when my father suddenly smiled and said, "Well, it's Mother's Day too." I awkwardly laughed and said, "Yeah, we're not really big on Mother's Day in this house for obvious reasons." The second I said it, his wife scoffed loudly from across the table and muttered, "Wow, thanks a lot." I honestly thought I misheard her, so I asked, "What do you mean?" And she immediately snapped back, "I'm a mother." The room instantly got tense. I stared at her for a second before replying carefully, "But you're not my mother." She rolled her eyes and said, "Well, I'm somebody's mother. My kids told me Happy Mother's Day." And I genuinely didn't know what she expected me to say to that, so I told her the truth. I said I don't usually go around wishing every mom I know a Happy Mother's Day. Then, trying to lighten the mood a little, I joked and asked if she planned on wishing me Happy Mother's Day for taking care of my 2 elderly dogs like they were my children. She looked at me like I'd said the most ridiculous thing imaginable and coldly said, "No." That's when something inside me snapped. Not because she didn't say it back, but because she had started this entire confrontation over a title she suddenly expected from me despite never acting like a mother toward me a single day in her life. Then she suddenly pointed at me and said, "Shut up, stop talking to me." And honestly, that made me furious. You don't start a fight at my dinner table, insult me in my own house after I cooked for hours while sick and exhausted, then decide you're done talking the second I defend myself. So I told her exactly how I felt. I explained that I do not see her as a mother figure. She's my father's wife. That's it. I was already an adult when she came into the family, and she has never played a maternal role in my life whatsoever. The second those words left my mouth, she exploded. She screamed, "Fuck you!" Everyone went dead silent. My father immediately got up from the table with her, and both of them stormed off into separate rooms like I was the one who had attacked her. I later found out they dumped the entire dinner I spent hours making straight into the garbage and ate cold cereal instead. The next morning, they asked my husband to drive them to the airport. Neither one of them said goodbye to me. Not a single word. And somehow the part that hurt the most was that they didn't even say goodbye to my dogs either after watching me spend all weekend taking care of everyone while barely functioning myself. Now I keep replaying the whole thing in my head, wondering how a quiet dinner turned into a screaming match because I didn't call a woman I barely know mom. Comment boundaries. If being married to someone's parent doesn't automatically make you their mother. Comment disrespect if throwing away the dinner was completely childish. Comment red flag if the father staying silent made the situation even worse.